Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for another daily cryptocurrency market update. And if you are new around here, every single day we release an update just like this one to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space and also the markets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. It is now October. We have survived September, and actually September turned out to be a green month for Bitcoin. And we'll start on the monthly. We'll work our way down technically. The short-term situation is looking a lot more promising. However, you are still, for me, in a bit of a dangerous area until we can clear sort of 28,500. We'll look again at the likelihood of October and November being a green month, which we believe it could be. Then we're going to talk about actually how Ethereum has, in terms of adoption, really surpassed these other technologies. And crypto, I believe, is one of the fastest technologies in terms of adoption. We'll talk on the Ethereum topic of how we're now seeing the filings for spot Ethereum ETFs. We had futures Ethereum ETFs that essentially are set to go live. And then we're going to go into the week ahead, set you guys up from a macro point of view, and then talk about a few other things. So let's start things off on the charts, and probably a good place to start would be the monthly, as we have now had that monthly close. And you can see actually September, despite the forecasts and historic monthly performances for Bitcoin, actually turned out to be a green month. And this is potentially setting us up for further continuation. You know, if we drop down to the weekly timeframes, we have continued to reiterate that actually we do now think that the crypto spring is here. I guess we've been very early on this call from the start of the year. You know, we went long Bitcoin around about 16, 15K. And of course the altcoins, which have been a bit of a pain. You know, we don't hide anything on this channel. Altcoins have been a very volatile ride, but we do assess that more broadly, there is, you are out of crypto winter, Bitcoin leading that charge as it always historically does into what we believe is a spring. And we've just got to really, for me, clear this 30K level. And then you're going to go through very, very thin volume all the way up to 40K plus. Remember, we've got this kind of real lack of volume above us here that I think you'll cut through like butter. And ultimately, we do have targets. Just to draw this very quickly, this won't be 100% on the dot, but you can see actually, you know, we do have targets to the upside, taking us to that 40K range. And we do just believe that this is support, a resistance into support flip, and you could now be setting up for the upside. And if we drop down the time frames, actually, this situation is looking ever more promising. Solana was a blockchain that we highlighted from a technical point of view. You hadn't yet gone on this run. And we said, actually, you know, you are setting up structure really across the board, whether you want to look at sort of a kind of mini head and shoulders. Really, it's a kind of double bottom with that higher right butt cheek that could be setting you up for that further upside. You can see you've got it on Polkadot. You know, Cardano looks like it's kind of bottoming out on the short term. Of course, Chainlink is a project that we are anticipating a break of a major 500-day range, and there's lots of other altcoins setting up similar-ish structure. You know, we highlighted Ethereum and actually how we thought Ethereum, you know, you've got kind of Dow theory, which is very simply just downtrends and uptrends and sort of accumulation and distribution phases. This is typically how a downtrend looks, which is adverse to this kind of, you often have ascending structures for continuation to the downside. This is a descending structure that will often lead to a break of the upside. So actually Bitcoin and crypto is setting up not too badly. Let's just take a look at the total market cap on the short term and potentially setting us up for a good October. You know, there's lots going on. We look at Bitcoin in lots of different ways. One of the ways we look at Bitcoin is through the eyes of Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. It looks a lot more healthier actually than the USD chart, and you can look at Bitcoin against other currencies. So we could be setting up actually for a good week ahead. We'll just have to see what happens. There is still absolutely the danger of, and we're fine with both scenarios, by the way, but it's always good to bear them in mind and sort of plan for either one, of, you know, us still having to go through what could be a deeper ABC correction that would then tie in with a potential, you know, head and shoulder scenario. You reject here, you know, you then would get your head and shoulders target. We won't put the head and shoulders target on, or we won't put the head and shoulder, we won't word it, of coming down here. So there is still a potential bull trap scenario at play. but it's really going to be about watching and waiting. And we've expressed our uncertainty here. We said it could really go either way. Let's let the market show us. And for us, it's all about getting back above and holding above here and then looking to take that upside. We still believe, we teach something called stage analysis, that this is likely a stage 2. You've had your breakout on volume. You've had your retest now twice, looking for that upside continuation. And again, a number of altcoins that we've been sort of saying, look, they're at a turning point, are indeed doing that. We looked at Quant, setting up this kind of 3 impulsive wave to the downside, falling wedge-like structure. So there's lots that we're looking at, and the short term's actually looking more and more promising until it doesn't. Essentially, you've got to get that price action to confirm things, and right now we think actually with better than expected data coming out on PCs and a number of other things, the market could be set, and cross-contaminating that with the stock market, which is having a bit of a sticky time, it could be at a pivotal moment. We've not done too much analysis on stocks recently, but we'd like to see this sort of set up for more upside continuation, which we think ultimately it will. We are watching the dollar. Dollar's still very strong. It's going to rest at some point, but you can see here, look at the buying that's coming in for the dollar on the back end of bond uncertainty, real estate uncertainty, and of course inflation uncertainty, which is interesting. This is wheat. Oil, we expect, is now in a stage 2 breakout and likely going to go higher, and so on and so forth. So we are now in the month of October. September was a positive close, and October and November are historically the most bullish months for Bitcoin, and then with the stocks, it's sort of December going into that Santa Claus rally. So we could be setting up for a great Q4 and an end to the year. That's certainly something that we're watching for and think is more likely. Ethereum surpasses 10 billion revenue in 7 years. And you can see this outpaces the top software companies by nearly half the time. Crypto has been nothing short of a success. And where you are right now, guys, in comparison with where you're going, where you're going to have potentially quadrillions tokenized and ran through blockchain, we haven't even really started the race. We've just got past that finish line. And of course, on the topic of Ethereum, you've got Investco Galaxy applying for a spot Ethereum ETF. We know we've got a futures Ethereum ETF actually going live tomorrow. Going to be interesting. Remember, futures ETFs, the provider of that ETF doesn't actually have to hold any Ethereum. So for actual spot market buying, it's not going to be really much of a mover, but it's going to be good to see the institutional demand. And of course, a futures ETF likely going to lead to a spot ETF eventually, and you're going to see other altcoins actually go on this journey and unlock trillions of dollars in terms of value, something we're very excited about. Let's move on to a little bit of sort of boring macro-y stuff. Monday, we've got manufacturing PMIs, which is going to be interesting. They're expected to rise. Tuesday, we've got Bank of Australia's rate decision expected to hold, very much in line. We've got US JOLTS. And then Wednesday, we've got US ISMs, USEIA crude oil inventories. Thursday, we've got initial jobless claims. And Friday is going to be the big one with non-farm payroll. Remember, employment is very correlated with the economy. And of course, the stock market. There's a big historic correlation between stocks and unemployment and how well they do or don't do. Unemployment at a low, stocks at a high, unemployment at a high, stocks at a low, and so on and so forth. Talking about the kind of macro, there is actually a point, and we've been called crazy for saying this, where quantitative tightening becomes quantitative easing because of the amount of money you need to print in order to, or the new debt you need to issue and kind of money print in that respect into the economy just to pay the kind of burden that you have. We also did a video earlier today where we looked at the unsustainability based on the bond market and the eventuality, soft, hard, or no landing of the Fed having to go back and print. It's a very high likelihood. And I think markets, probably more so than really anything right now, are sniffing that out. They know that the Fed's at the end of their road. That's why they've forward and front ran this. We simply don't think the Fed can go much higher, even with inflation scares, and we think the markets know that and are sniffing this out. Just quickly, a little bit of an interesting one. This was, of course, the email that started the revolution from Satoshi back on October the 31st, 2008. Bitcoin's birthday is coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how psychologically and socially the market actually reacts to this. So that's really all we've got for you guys. I will be doing a more in-depth update on everything, looking at a lot of stocks and things like that and correlating them all to the markets with Patreon. So if you do want to become a Patreon, we do a weekly meeting every single Sunday. And we have had quite a boom in new occupants of the Patreon. And we got a great retention rate, which I think is very appealing, or positive, I should say. On that note, we're really going to love and leave you. I would expect, depending on how the futures market opens tonight and the knock-on effect that has on the crypto space, futures being for the traditional markets, that actually crypto looks to be setting up for upside this week. And that's our take on the short term. We've got a little bit more sort of guidance on the short term based on what the price action is currently telling us. But we will see, and we'll keep you up to date every single day on this channel. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next.